It's recording. Okay, reading the defense workshop. Have you guys had many quarterback coaches who knew quarterback stuff and were able to teach you who you should look at on the field, or anyone? A little bit, little bits and pieces. Okay. Well, what we want to try to go through today is there's going to be a reading checklist. So reading the defense checklist that you can do before every game and in the game and each play. Okay. So hopefully we can master that. We'll explain some basic coverages. So we're only going to look at 3 today because there's obviously a very extensive amount of coverages. And if you watch the NFL, you'll see they always talk about like a zone blitz or a rolled cover 3 or something like that, which we won't go into today because there's just so many to go through. So just the basic ones we'll go through, and what you'll probably see in GQ. You're not going to see that complicated stuff elsewhere or here. So we're going to outline what concepts, routes will beat those coverages. So we call them coverage beaters. We'll watch a bit of film, and then hopefully I can give you some practical things that you can apply. You can just, okay, this is a tool that I can add to my toolkit, and I'll use that next time. Okay. And then, we'll go out in the field and we'll run a bit of skelly. So what we talk about here, hopefully you can go straight away, put it into practice on the field. All right. So we'll go 3 to 3:45 is this stuff. So we'll do coverage, like we just said, explanation, film breakdown, play install. So I sent everyone those 4 plays. We're only going to do those 4 plays. They're very basic, but that's all I want you to do is use these practical things with those simple plays, do them well, and you should have success. We ran against the Stingrays yesterday and hitches and outs and stick concepts. We had 100 yards, 150 yards in those things, okay? Simple, real simple. But it was precise, it was on time, it was accurate. After that, we'll go to the field, do our little warm up our arms, do some gun drop backs. I know last camp we did under center a lot, so we'll do from shotgun. So that's what we're going to be reading the defense from shotgun today, okay? And then we'll go into skelly. So skelly is, I don't even know why they call it skelly. I think it was like a skeleton defense, I don't know. But that's basically just 7-on-7. We won't have that many, but we'll just do half field. So it'll be just one side of the field we're reading, okay? All right, here we go. First of all, what is coverage? So coverage refers to what strategy the defense uses to stop the passing game. So you might have some really, I know the Patriots, they have really athletic cornerbacks. So their coverage a lot of the time is man coverage, and they want to send pressure on the quarterback, okay? Whereas maybe a Pittsburgh Steelers, they'll have a lot of zone and different blitzes and try to confuse you. So that's a different type of coverage. So different strategies teams use. It generally involves just the linebackers and defensive backs. I mean, you can have a defensive line drop into coverage, but obviously you don't want those big guys in space moving. It might confuse a quarterback. Maybe if a quarterback is only looking to the left a lot, a defensive coordinator might be like, okay, we're going to trick the quarterback and pop that little defensive end out and try to get a pick. But if they're left in space, that's not an advantage for the defense. Okay, so maybe it's used as a confusion tactic, but most of the time it's just linebackers and defensive backs. Okay, so safeties, corners, outside and inside linebackers. Okay, there's obviously 2 core types of coverages: man or zone, and obviously in those 2 different categories, there's many variations. Okay, heaps of variations. We can't talk about them all today. It's impossible. All right. So, how do you read the defense? How do I read it? This is the checklist. So there's a pre-game, pre-snap, and post-snap thing you need to think about. Okay. So pre-game, like we said, there's so many different coverages. You need to whittle down the number of coverages by scouting the tendencies of the other team and in their down and distance, okay? Because there's such a vast array of different coverages, You need to just narrow it down, okay? And that's why we scout your opponent through game film, and that's why you develop the game plan, okay? So like on a third and short, are they pressing and forcing a hard pass, or are they playing coverage all across the board, okay? Because if I've never seen or never prepared for the game, it could be coverage, it could be pressure, but I'm not ready in that play because I haven't prepared, okay? And if we do see that this team only does, okay, pressure from this side or pressure from this side, then that's kind of all I need to account for, because I've scouted. Obviously the defense can change it a bit, but we're just narrowing it down, making it manageable for us, okay? So that's just an example. It could be, maybe it's their first down coverage. Maybe they play nice and soft, they don't want to allow a deep shot, okay? So if we see that cornerback 10 yards off, okay, we've seen that they play a lot of cover 4 or cover 3, so I'm going to attack that short, flat route, okay? Early and often. All right? So that's the first thing you need to do. Really important as a quarterback. Amanda had a really good quote for me. What was it? Like,
playing quarterback isn't 4 hours a week.
Yeah, so typically in GQ, you have 2-hour practices a week. That's not enough to be a good quarterback, okay? And we're not trying to be good quarterbacks, we're trying to be great quarterbacks. So pre-snap, scan the roof line, okay? I'll show you a picture in a sec. The roof line is the 2 cornerbacks and the 2 safeties. What does that look like? Is it 2 high corners and 1 high safety? Or is it 2 corners low and then 2 safeties high? So that's the roof line, is all those defensive backs and what that looks like. And that tells us a lot. If they're all flat, it's probably going to be cover 4 or like a rolled cover 3, okay? One of those safeties might come down, one goes up, okay? That's a bit of a disguise. So you got to scan the roof line. You got to check the front. So the front is the front 7 players, the defensive line and the linebackers, okay? If we see that there's 4 defensive linemen, for example, we know we have an advantage passing-wise, okay? Because they have 1 less in coverage, all right? So checking the front is really important. Obviously, this becomes much more natural as you gain experience and you've seen many different coverages and you have success, okay? So this is something you develop and continue like as you go forward, okay? It's kind of like count how many. That is not. I don't count them like I go 7. It's kind of, you get, as you get more experience, you just see the picture and you see, okay, that's a 3 tech here on the field side or something, and there's like, you can just kind of see there's 4 down linemen, and that's obviously something you got to scout as well.
And Stacey, I don't know if it's relevant in GQ, but can you guys tell by if it's man or zone by looking at the corner? You know what the telltale is? Like,
Yeah.
Do the corners? Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty obvious. So we'll see. I've got some photos of that in a second. And so pre-snap, after you've had a kind of a educated guess about what kind of coverage they're in, you're only going to choose one side of the field. You can't drop back and see the whole field. Okay, your concepts, your plays should be built for you to go from one side. Then, if you have enough time, progress to the other side. But you can't see the whole field like if you're looking right in the middle. Okay, it's too much to process, too much information. So after you've made your pre-snap look at the roof line, checking the front, you might see that it is a certain coverage. Then you choose a side of the field because there's 2 receivers running complementary routes there if it's designed correctly, and you only then go to your post-snap read, okay? Which is confirm what your pre-snap thought was by keying a defender. So one of the biggest things one of my coaches told me was not to look at my receivers. It was to look at a defender that those receivers are attacking and go opposite to where that defender is. Okay, so that's cool. That's what keying the defender is. Going opposite to where they go. Okay, and we'll see examples of that in a second. Okay, so pre-game, scout your opponent. Pre-snap, you have to have that checklist. Okay, You run off, you go left to right across the roof line, right to left, linebackers across the front, left to right. Make your guess, choose your side, okay? And then post-snap, you key a defender, and that will confirm what you thought pre-snap. You can't just make a pre-snap read and go, okay? Sometimes that can be successful, but if they do have a plan for you, they might catch you off guard, get an interception, okay? So here we go. So here we have a little picture here of, let's have a look at the roof line of the defense here. So we start, well, you can go from right to left if you want. It's up to you, but I'll go from left to right. So just look at the corner. Okay, he's about 5 yards off. It tells me something. He's probably not in deep zone coverage, okay? It's a little bit of a tell. He might drop back, who knows? This guy is about 10 yards off inside our receiver, okay? So that's a high safety. That's a high safety. The field side safety is inside shade on the slot here, about 10 yards off. Also another high safety. So we're thinking, okay, 2 high safety, that means cover 4, cover 2, okay? Shallow corner here, he's inside 5 yards, probably 3 yards off here. So we're thinking cover 2, because cover 2 means the 2 safeties are only deep, okay? He's protecting this area. So that's telling us, we've seen the roof line of the defense, that's telling us, okay, either cover 2 or cover 4, okay? Now we go across the linebackers. They are like apexing, it's called apexing. So they're splitting the difference between our tackle and our slot receiver, okay? So he's here. That means, first of all, there's going to be space for throws over the middle, okay? And also we could run the ball as well. Like this is a run favorable look for the offense, okay? Linebackers are outside the box. If we want to run inside, it's a good look for us, okay? And then third scan is across the front here. 4 down linemen. Okay, if there's 4 down linemen, that means there's 1 less in coverage. But they might give us some pressure, okay? So we've got to be wary of that. But it also means we have 5 O linemen. That means all 4 of those players are accounted for. So if we have good O-line, we should have time, theoretically, okay? So so in my pre-game scouting, I've seen, okay, they don't like to let anything deep, so I'm thinking cover 2 or cover 4. I've done my pre-snap checklist, I've scanned the defense. That's kind of confirming what I did pre-game. I've seen the roof line of the defense, probably cover 2, okay? And now what I need to do is key a defender. So this is my passing concept. I'm choosing the field side. There's a lot of space out there. I've got 2 deep routes, okay? I know in cover 2, he's responsible for this area here. So it's going to be hard for him to cover this post, okay? And then what I'm doing is keying this defender. So by that, I mean, if this player goes out, okay, that's confirmed that it's cover 2. He's covering that deep side of the field. And if he goes out, then I'm going to throw this post. Now, if this safety stays in or just goes back, I'm going to hit this outside post skinny over the top, okay? So I'm making this one player wrong. I'm keying the defender, okay? All right, I think I have a little clip here. So, and it's got to happen really fast. So as we're breaking the huddle, you should be starting to look at the roof line of the defense, going left to right across the linebackers. Unfortunately, this wasn't a completion. Okay, so I probably had both of those. This safety's kind of not taking either away. So like a good defensive player will take one away and force you to make a good read. Because he kind of goes back and out, but doesn't commit to anything. So kind of had both there. So that's in some teams you'll just have a very clear read. They'll just fly out. And against the Stingrays last night, they had one of their safeties. I hit Lockie on a post over the middle. Their safety just turned their hips and ran to the sideline. It was really obvious that it was cover 2. Okay. Does that make sense, everyone? Make sense? So that's that pre-snap checklist, post-snap confirmation that you need to do every play. Okay. All right. So quickly scanning across the roof line. Okay. So this corner is about 10 yards off. This corner's up Something funky's happening, okay? They might be disguising, so I need to be wary of that. The safeties are not level. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe one of them is going to come down or go up, okay? So which could mean, if he's all the way off, it could mean maybe like a cover 3, okay? So I'm thinking one of these safeties might go high, okay? And then we look over here. All right, so they have, how you go, mate? Kynan, is it? Kanan. Nice to meet you, buddy. So we're just talking about our like pre-game, pre-snap, post-snap checklist of how to read a defense. So first of all, we look at the roof line of the defense to give us an idea of what coverage they're in. Then we scan the linebackers, and then we look at the defensive front, okay? And we're saying that the safeties here are not level, so we're thinking one's gonna go high perhaps, okay? All right, my concept here was 2 deep outs. This is like a quick deep out, and this is like a square deep out, which takes a bit more time, okay? So I'm keying this defender. My pre-snap guess, because I like that, I like my timing, I like my matchup with my receiver. My pre-snap guess is that he's gonna keep going backwards, which means I'll have that route easy, open, on time, okay? But what I need to do is confirm post-snap. If they just stay there or come forward, then I need to check off that. I need to look back to the next read here, okay? Because if he just stays here, that means, boom, this little window is available, okay? So it's really important to have good play design as well. And with your coaches, you need to just say, okay, well, if this happens, what do I do? If this happens, what do I do? Okay? All right, so that's keying my defender. I think we have a little clip. So we'll have a look. So right now you're thinking, oh, he's high. He's a high safety. Let's have a look. He's up short. Looks like man almost. Okay, he backpedals at the snap. He rolls down, he goes high. But that one key defender, I didn't have to worry about all of that. I made my pre-snap decision and of choosing one side of the field, okay, to read. Then post-snap, I confirmed that he backpedaled, and I could just throw that on time to the out, okay? This is one of the best. If you can time this route and get good at this, it's a really good play, okay? So it's just an easy first down. All right? So that's those three things you need to think about: pre-game, pre-snap, post-snap. Any questions about that? We'll try to practice that out in the field, okay? So that's the main tool I want to give you today, is that checklist. So let's get into some coverages now. What time is it? Plenty of time. Okay, so man coverage. Obviously, if any young players here don't know, defensive players are assigned to a particular player on the offense. So I don't know if you played soccer or basketball or something, there's man-to-man defense. That's what it is in American football too. So those players prevent that player from receiving the ball until the end of the play. Okay? Pretty simple? Yeah. So there's many different types, okay? And it can be mixed with a bit of zone too. So cover 0, or just straight man, that's everyone's one-on-one, and then everyone else is blitzing. Okay, so we have 4 receivers out there and a running back. They'll have 4 in man-to-man coverage, and everyone else is blitzing. If it's cover 1 or man-free, that means the same thing, except they have 1 safety in the middle of the field. You would think they'd be in the middle of the field. If they're not in the middle of the field, the middle of the field's open. That's the easiest throw long. Okay, that's why they stay in the middle, because they're vulnerable. Like, it's not a far throw to go over the middle long. To go outside long, that's a hard throw to make. Okay, not for us. Okay, but for some players it is. Okay, 2 man, so that's 2 deep safeties and everyone else in man coverage, and then you have like a 1 robber. We won't go too much into it, but 1 robber is just 1 high safety and then like a linebacker in the middle, so you can't do anything short over the middle. Okay, but we can cover that in another session if we want. All right, so this is what it might look like in cover one man, okay? So these are, I really want you to pay attention to some of these indicators of coverages. Okay, so just have a read of that, have a look at that. So we have a spread formation, very simple, very even, very neat. All right, so he's one-on-one, 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 here. Okay, the indicators, the cornerback's eyes are on the receiver. Okay, that's what like a fundamental defensive coordinator would teach their players. Obviously, when you get good, the DBs can disguise it. They can be looking pre-snap. Once they know your cadence, then they can look here. And by the time you've done your cadence, you're looking at the ball and you haven't seen them turn to go to man. Okay, so in film study, you should be looking at their tendencies like that, if they're that good. Okay, there's not going to be many that good here. All right, so they're all one-on-one. Means there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in pressure. If the running back doesn't come or doesn't go, that player's probably blitzing as well. Okay, so if you have a free release by the running back, this guy will probably follow. And then this safety in the middle of the field, they're going to be reading whatever. It's kind of just, he's just free to go wherever he wants, and he'll probably look at the quarterback's eyes. Okay, so the corners also have inside leverage. So leverage means their position pre-snap in relation to, actually not pre-snap, just their position in relation to the receiver or the person that they're guarding. Okay, so pre-snap, it's inside leverage. And I'm talking just about the corners here, because these linebackers or safeties, they could be outside shade because they're funneling to the free safety. Okay, that's why they might be, if it was cover 0, no help over the middle, everyone blitzing, they'd probably be in here. Do we know the fundamental reason why they'd be inside leverage? That's just because it's a harder throw to throw it further away and outside, and it's a bit more risky. Okay, because if you throw a bad throw, underthrow it, pick 6. Okay, so that's purely the only reason why a lot of coaches will teach inside. It's a much harder throw. If they're outside, we get a quick, like if here, say if he blitzes and he's here and he blitzes. If he's outside leverage and we just do a slant, that's like to the house. It's like a 7-yard throw, easy. Okay, so that's why they do that. Oftentimes they'll be close to the line of scrimmage. The LOS is the line of scrimmage. So this line here is the line of scrimmage. So these guys are quite close, aren't they? So there's nothing, I can't just throw a short little hitch. Okay? He's scared of the bone zone, so he's off. Okay? He's in that kind of pretty good no man's land. If we do a hitch, he can make a play on the ball. Okay? Also, another indicator is safety, middle of the field. Okay? So these are the 4 key indicators to tell you it's going to be man coverage or man free. All right, let's have a look. See them. So he's backpedaling. There we go. Get it out on time. We should be sweet. So in man coverage, I got some things you need to think about in man coverage.
I have a question.
Yep.
When you say middle of the field, you're obviously in the middle of the field to snap the ball. So is the middle of the field where the ball is placed, or is the middle of the field actually the middle of the field where the ball is placed on the
I think it's usually like over the ball. But they might cheat just to the field to split the difference. Depends like where your receivers line up. But yeah, it's generally over the ball. And so in like a first down situation, the corners might not be pressed. Okay? They might just be a little bit off, maybe give you a little, challenge you with the throw, and then rally and make a tackle. So it's not always just a pressure look, okay? All right, so in man coverage, how we want to beat it is it's all about getting to our best matchup, okay? So speed and quickness is really important when going against man coverage. So everyone will have their receiver that they like. It used to be CJ for me. And Bessie, he's a great receiver. So those players who can get out of their breaks or create separation, That's who you want to go to on man coverage, okay? Anything with a quick, sharp cut is going to be good against man coverage. So like a deep hook or like a hitch, not so good because it takes a couple of steps to break down. Defensive player can react, okay? Ones where like when you get an out where you can maybe do like a little head fake and go out, that's really good. You get heaps of separation. Little slants, little stick your foot in the ground, accelerate away from the man. That's really good. Corner outs are really good, okay? But that's obviously a hard, it's easy to get separation in a corner, but it's kind of hard to get it over the top of the defender like every time, okay? So for the wide receivers, separation is paramount. It's super important, okay? So these are something we can do today. So if we see man coverage, so we can see here the corner's up, linebackers up, safety, corner, free safety high. So if we call scrape today, and if you see man coverage, you see one high safety and the corners and linebackers and stuff inside, okay? You choose your best matchup, okay? And just throw it on time. Receivers get separation, okay? Stick. I like this one. If you have a speed mismatch, you can go for the shot. It's good. Okay, I do that with bones all the time. Why, if they can do a shake and bake on their little out route, just hit the out route, okay? So choose whichever one you like the best, okay? So they're just going to be in man coverage. We don't have to worry about anything else happening because we've read pre-snap that they're in man coverage. Make sure you read post-snap as you're getting the ball. Okay, are they still looking at their receiver? Okay, still looking at that. So choose your best matchup and your best route. Okay, and then obviously you can run smash as well. This corner is going to stay with this pivot route, and we should have a lot of space here away from the safety to hit the smash, the corner route. Okay, so in this, if we go back in this one, it's up to you. You can take like a 3 quick drop back from gun, 1, 2, 3 throw. No setting and throwing on this one, or you can go catch, okay, set and throw. Okay, it's not take 3 deep steps, set up in the pocket and throw. It's like your slant will be over here by that time. Okay, so we got to hit it. We should be hitting it on the hash or like inside this Mike linebacker. And then on stick, same thing, same timing. It's not a 3 set and throw. Like we know it's man, so I'm going to put it out there for my receiver if we're going to the fade. Okay. And this one here is a 3 set. Okay, so catch from gun, take 3 steps, set up in the pocket and throw. Okay. What I mean by set, a lot of people say like hitch up in the pocket, but there's a hitch route, so I just call it set up in the pocket, so there's no confusion. All right, so I think this one is a little man coverage with scrape. That guy's not on the field. So we could have hit Troy there. So really, we go back here. Okay, so he's playing, it's cover 1. He's playing off man. He's playing outside shade, funneling to the safety. He's inside shade. He's inside shade. He's going to the out. So really what we could have hit here is this big window just here. All right, except I was trusting my guy. He comes here. There's also another window here. So this is double slant here, and this is like the scrape, which we'll do today. Okay, play it through again. Okay, so sometimes it's a bit, sometimes it can be confusing. Obviously, this defense does a bit of disguising because look, he's looking into the quarterback, but he's in man coverage. He's off the ball about 6 yards in man coverage. He's giving me a telltale sign. He's giving me a telltale sign. It's really important to check the corners. Okay, if they're not well coached, it'll be really obvious what they're doing. Okay. Bang. Probably should have hit Troy, or that outside receiver here. Okay. All right, zone coverage. Let's get into it. Defensive players are assigned to a particular area, 2 particular areas of the field, and prevent players that enter that zone from receiving the ball. Okay. Every zone defense has its strengths and weaknesses. So there's many different types. You got cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, cover 6, and then there's different variations of how how that happens. But in those variations, the zones will be the same, but a player will be moving from one position to that zone. And in the next formation, this player is going to go to that zone. Okay, but it'll be the same zones being covered, but by different players and different movement. So that's where it gets a bit challenging with a good defense. All right, so cover 2 zone. So in a cover 2 zone, we can attack the deep middle and the deep sideline. Unfortunately, there's no easy throws in a cover 2 because they're forcing us to make those bit of a longer throw. Okay, so they're not giving us the cheap little out to the flat or a little hitch to the flat, anything like that. Okay, so in cover 2, we must be precise and throw on time. And so because they have 2 deep safeties, it's favorable to run the ball, but we don't need to do that. Okay, we can still pass the ball. So they're going to have 4 D linemen rushing. The corners are going to be responsible for the flat. Okay, this is in basic cover 2. And then the linebackers are going to be responsible for like those underneath zones till about 10 yards depth. And then the safety is going to be responsible for covering half the field each. Okay, that's our cover 2, basic cover 2 zone. So here, like that clip I showed you before, so he's going to have this side of the field, he's here, corner here, those zones there. So the indicators, the corner's hips are turned in. You can see that here. He's disguising. Okay, it's outside leverage. What I mean by that is, if I draw a line to the line of scrimmage, that line would intersect outside of our receiver. Okay, so they want everything to go back in. Because the safeties are in the middle of the field, they want to push everything back in towards their safeties if we go deep. Okay? So then we have, so hips are turned in, so they're looking in at the quarterback. So they're really reading the eyes of the quarterback. They're close to the line of scrimmage, so he's at 5 yards, he's at 3 yards. There's 2 high safeties approximately. Usually it's about 12 yards. These guys are pretty aggressive. Or maybe they backpedal really fast. Okay, so they're our key indicators. And then in zone coverage, it's all about precision and timing. So, and also make sure you trust your O-line. You have to be focused on your read. You can't be looking at the O-line and then try to go to your read. You just have to trust your O-line and go to your read straight away. Okay, because it has to be on time, has to be precise. And then usually we can isolate a defender. So you can isolate a corner with your concept, or like a safety with your play concept. And that's when, if it's designed well, then all you have to do is key that one defender. You guys cold? You good? Sure, you shaking? All right, so effective concepts, there's more, but these 2 are what we're gonna do today, which can work, okay? So we have the smash. So obviously against a cover 2, we're reading this red guy here, okay? If the red player stays low, we set and throw same time, both routes at the same timing, okay? If this cornerback is low, we sit 3 step, set up in the pocket and throw to the Y, okay, to the corner. If the cornerback drops back, we 3 set, throw to the pivot route towards the sideline. It's going to be like, you're going to be throwing it about here, okay? All right? And then with the stick, it's the same read, just a different way. Like the players get to the same spot, don't they? Because this Y ends up here, this X ends up here. This Y ends up here, this X ends up here. Okay, it's just kind of like inverted basically, but it's still the same reads. That's good for us. They can disguise their concepts, we can disguise our concepts by getting to the same position with different movement. Okay, so this is called keying the cornerback, so high-lowing the cornerback. If the corner's high, we throw low. If the corner's low, we throw high. Okay?
With the stick, sorry.
Yep.
This stick seam or guard, whatever you want to call it, there's obviously a specific position that you need to throw the ball in, you don't just throw it over the top.
Yeah, so that's going to be like a little window. And yeah, important for the receivers to know is you have to have a mandatory outside release. So like, it means you have to go on the left side of this cornerback here. Okay? Because if that happens, that keeps the eyes of the corner to here. And what we want to do is get the eyes to the out route so we can hit that little window, like Amanda said, in here. We don't want to go long up here because the safety has that angle. But if we can go deep to the like 15 yards on the sideline, that's what we want. That's what we want. Okay. So here's a little example. I think this is stick to the field. So right now, like, I'm fucking having to talk to my running back here because he doesn't know what he's doing. But as you're coming out of the huddle, you need to be scanning the roof line, checking the linebackers, looking at the front. Okay. All right. Boom. That safety was planned. A bit soft. But. Okay. So we're reading this guy only. Okay. Once I see him, just hesitate just a little bit. Boom. He's done. So this is what we call like a squatting cornerback. He's like 6 yards off, but he's not turning and running, not preventing anything going deep. Okay, so he's just like kind of shuffling. And I know my guy with a head of steam, he's going to get outside. Okay, so it's kind of a hard one to like trust that he's going to do it. But then if he does go, you just hit the out route. Okay. Oh yeah, this is from last night. So this is a different version of the smash route. So this is smash against cover 2. See safety's high, corners low. See that roof line, how obvious that is? Okay. What we have here is he's got an inside release corner. So he's going to come in here, and then the running back goes to the flat. Okay, so it's the same idea. Someone's going to the flat, someone's going high. So we're high-lowing the cornerback. And so what the quarterback is doing is just reading this corner here. Okay? He comes in, comes off the running back, and then we can hit it over the top. All right? If he doesn't just turn and run back, okay, then we've got that corner over the top. You got to trust the timing. Trust the timing. Okay, so simple stuff. They're just reading one player after you've made your choice. You got to simplify it, huh? I know, yeah. So yeah, just a simple choice. That's all you need to make. You got to keep it simple as a quarterback. You can't read the whole field.
So is it because when he turned to kind of run, his eyes were still on you and he shuffled a bit?
Yeah. He just stayed there, and then I know my route was going back there, and he just because his eyes went to he wasn't expecting the running back. If he was expecting the running back, he would have seen the running back earlier and come off it earlier. Okay, cover 3 zone. We'll do this one quick. Okay, we're just going to do man coverage, cover 2 zone, and cover 3. Okay, today. Don't want to overload. So we can attack the seams. So that's down here, between the corners and safeties, and the flats. Okay, because the linebackers are starting inside, they have to run to the flat. So if we are faster to the flat, then we have a chance to make a play. If they just run out there, we usually have a play inbuilt where we can throw just inside that buzzing linebacker. So as the word buzzing means, this linebacker with no regard just goes straight to the flat, okay? And that means their momentum is taking them all the way there, so sometimes we can hit a little something just behind them, okay? All right, so the shorter throws are available. Obviously in cover 2, they only have 2 deep. In cover 3, they have 3 deep, okay? I think, Mitch, you had a few nice seam routes against the Mustangs yesterday. I saw that in the first half. They had that one high safety. It was so plain and simple that they were playing cover 3, but they weren't buzzing. They were just, it was like four guys. So I think the Mustangs had 4 guys here, and like 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And so it was just, and then one safety in the middle. Like, didn't even move from a position. He just stayed right in the middle. So it was like, so easy to read. But then the corners were like off and inside. But obviously in all zones, you need to be precise and throw on time. And so in this coverage, the defense is stronger against the run. So it's good for quick passing. All right, so here's a little example. Corner's going off. This linebacker is responsible for this whole area. So there's a lot of space there for our 2 receivers to work a concept, okay? And then we have, the safety's rolling down. So sometimes maybe this safety will go here, and the linebacker will go out. Or maybe this safety will come here, this linebacker will come in, this linebacker goes out, and this safety comes up. Okay, there's heaps of different variations of cover 3, which is a nightmare, but you just have to, that's what good defenses will do. They'll confuse you with different looks. Okay, so indicators. So the corner's hips are turned in. So there's but what I mean by when their hips are turned in, their eyes are basically just looking at the quarterback. They're not locked onto their receiver. Okay, they normally have inside leverage. They still want to force the hard throw to the outside, especially the cornerbacks. If we have to throw to the sideline, that's a long throw. If it's a bad throw, they have a chance to make a play. Okay, they're usually 5 yards or plus off. Okay, so you can see here he's about 7 or 8, and they're 7 or 8. Okay, it's probably like a good, comfortable distance, because they're not, like if they're about 10 yards off, yeah, they're not getting beat deep, but I can just take a hitch all day of the week, and then they have to. Then if we get there on time, that cornerback is still probably 3 yards off, and that's 3 yards that our guy has to make him miss. Okay, and then there's one safety in the middle of the field, and that's what we need to check post snap for cover 3 as well. Like if pre-game we know they go to cover 3, we need to kind of have eyes on our first step of our drop back to see them rolling or wherever that safety goes. Okay, especially if they start in a too high look. So if we look at this roof line here, they're almost a little bit even, but like you'll see in the video, like they kind of shuffle around a bit. Do I have a video? I have a video soon. Okay, so in zone coverage, it's all about precision and timing. So we've got to get the ball out quick. We can isolate a defender again. So usually an outside linebacker, because they're a bit slow and they have to cover a lot of space underneath. Okay, so that's why we like to attack the outside linebackers, or we can attack the middle safety. Okay, with either vertical routes. So that safety has to just choose which one. If they choose this one, we go to this one. If they choose this one, we go to this one. Okay, that's obviously requires a bit of time in the pocket. And so effective concepts that we're doing today are scrape and hitch. Okay, so in scrape, we have our cover 3, corners off, safety high, corners off. We're keying this weak side linebacker. W stands for Will, which is weak side linebacker. Okay, Mike, middle linebacker. Sam, strong linebacker. Safety, strong safety usually goes to the field. They're usually a faster player who will come down and make a tackle. Okay, strong safety. Okay, so before we had a high-low read, now we have an east-west read. Okay, if this Will goes out, where do we go? Slant, right here, on time. Okay, and now if this Will hesitates at all, doesn't go out straight away, boom, just straight out here, because your guy will make a move. Okay, and get there. All right, this one's pretty simple one, but it's the same principle. So here, this is a big space that this Will needs to cover. If they buzz straight out to the hitch here, we throw here. Okay, if they stay and come under this one, then we just throw quickly to here. You got to make that read in one step. Okay, so it's catch and cheat step. That's what I do. Plant your back foot. I've made my decision. Throw the ball. Okay, so it's real quick. All right, I think this is scrape against cover 3. Okay, so I think this is the safety who's already come down, and this cornerback is just so far off, it's ridiculous. Or actually no, I think this is like a cover 3 sky. So the corner is actually up. One of the safeties is playing this left side deep third. This safety is playing the middle, and this corner is playing this third here. Okay. Still, like I said before, the players can move to like from a different position, but they're still going to cover the same zones. So if you have a look at it, deep, 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 flat, hook zone, flat. Okay. So that's what a cover 3 will be. Okay. And boom. Cool. So that we can just throw boom off this guy. And then what happens over here? So we could have done the same thing over here. Okay. Now this is where like a defense gets real cute. He's 15, 20 yards off and both players are open because they won't discipline. They want to put in like a disguise. If they disguise and they're not there on time, then both players are open. Okay. So there's two sides to the coin, and this is our hitch concept. Okay, so the roof line looks pretty ominous, like it's not obvious, but there's no outside linebacker here. That's a lot of space, so it's either blown coverage or this guy's going to come and fill that area. Okay, so this ends up being our key defender on this side. Okay, he's responsible for the flat, and that obviously comes with that game scouting, pre-game scouting. Okay, those tendencies. All right, and so he's like, because they're disguising, we can just throw on time. Both players are open again. Okay, but if he was here and then moved at the same speed, then this route would be covered, wouldn't it? And I would throw to this player here. Okay. Bang. All right. Sweet. That's it. There we go. Any questions? That was a lot. But now we can just take our time with it on the field and apply it. So what I would